Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Tin Shed Shenanigans. Today we are going to be working on this. This is a 2004 Husqvarna YTH 2348 with 23 horse Briggs & Stratton Intake. This was given to me by a neighbor. It's been sitting. The battery dated was 2014, so it's been sitting since then. They put a brand new carburetor on it back in like 07, 08, and they wanted it out of their yard, so I got it. So it hasn't been running in like 10 years. So let's see if we can get it spinning over. All right, so we got the jump box hooked up to it. Put it to engine start. 15 minutes. It has 610 hours on it. The jump box or the jump starter's hooked up. I'll push the clutch in. Okay. So that does not sound happy. Let's see. Let's move this a little more. See if we can't get straight off the solenoid. No. I'm gonna try and clean up some of the ground connections, and maybe I've done a little bit. Just took the battery out and cleaned up this and right here at the starting solenoid, clean all that up. But I'm gonna clean up at the starter where it grounds to the block and see if that doesn't help some. So yeah, let me do that and I'll get back. Okay guys, so I got the cover off so you can actually see the engine now. Cleaned up the positive side on the starter. Everything looked pretty good with the ground, so I'm taking the spark plugs out now just to see if maybe it's a compression issue. And let's see, a little bit of carbon on that, so I may have one like that, may not, I don't know. I'll get a little wire brush and clean it up. Go and get this other spark plug off, and I'm gonna see if maybe I can just kind of wind it over with no spark plugs in it and see if that doesn't help. Just a little 5/8 spark plug sockets. All it takes to get these little things out. Oh, yeah. Kind of smells like gas. Kind of smells like oil. We're gonna see if we can't clean those up. Now that I have that undone, let's see if it'll spin a little bit better. If it doesn't, then we know it's the starter. Okay, so that's on. I got my clutch kind of pushed down with a park brake. Okay. So it's spinning over good now. I'm gonna see if I just can't clean these out and see if maybe that's my issue. Gonna clean them up with a little bit of wire brush, make sure we have spark and everything. And then I guess I'll put some fuel down its throat and see if it'll pop off. All right, so I got the spark plugs cleaned up. Let's see. Oh, might help if I turn the thing on. Okay. All right, so they both have spark. It's now spinning over good. I'm gonna shut this off so I don't get electrocuted in case I grab one while it's still high. I'm gonna get the spark plugs back in. Maybe now that I got it spinning over and, you know, winding over on its own, that'll help it a little bit. So let's get these babies back in. Whenever you're putting spark plugs in, make sure you're very careful with the porcelain. Don't like drop it or beat it around really, because if you crack that porcelain, you'll have a misfire. It'll pop and backfire and everything like that. I don't know where I put my ratchet with a spark plug socket. Oh, there it is. Never mind. Yeah, let's get that. Come on. And make sure, especially with like aluminum housings and brass housings and softer metal housings than the item you're trying to screw into, or screw into it, make sure you start them by hand and they're fitting good. Otherwise you will cross thread it and you'll damage the housing it goes into. Okay. And we'll get this one hooked up. You want to hear it snap when it goes in. We'll come over to this side. We got it started. And we'll just screw it in by hand before we put the ratchet on it, just in case. Make sure we don't have any issues or anything like that. Okay. It's in by hand. All right, that's snug. And then put that in there. All right. Let's put this thing back on. Turn it on. Gonna grab the starting fluid. Put a little snort down his throat. And let's see what happens. Okay. So we may have to do like I did one time on my lawnmower over there, Toro. When I first got it, it wouldn't run unless I pulled out one of the spark plugs. So let's pull out one of the spark plugs, and that'll just give it some compression relief if it's having an issue, you know. Whether that be like carbon, and seeing how much carbon was on that spark plug, I'm feeling that's what it is it's just like a carbon buildup, and it's not letting it get the compression it needs. So we'll take that out. See? Huh. Spray a little starting fluid. Hey! Let's actually dump a little bit of gas down it and see if we can't get it started like that. So let me get some gas, put it in the tank, and yeah, and then I'll get back with y'all. Okay. So I only had about a gallon of gas left. That should be enough though. It's pumping up in that filter, I can see it. I may have to go get some more out of a... Yeah. I'm gonna get some more gas out of another lawnmower, and I'll be back just because I kind of need some gas for that, just because I want to get it running. And I can always just buy more gas somewhere else. So yeah, let me do that. All right, so we got some more gas. We siphoned it off another project that I'm waiting on parts for. Still left a couple gallons of gas in that one. But I have enough now where it's at least showing on the little line. So let's get the gas cap back on. And then we'll get the jump box turned back on. And let's see what she does. Let's see if she, all right. So it's gonna be really loud. So I'm gonna try and just focus on that little primer or the fuel filter and see if it primes up. choke on, throttle's full. Turn choke off. Okay. Cool, cool. We may be out of fuel. Well, it ran. We know it runs now. So let me see if I can get some more fuel. See if I can't put some more in there and let it just sit here and idle, because I think that's what happened, is it just ran dry. But yeah, I think there's not enough in the tank really to do anything. So let me get some more fuel in this thing, and then I'll see if I can. If it gets idling, I'll bring y'all back. All right, guys. So we're back out here again. Just got off work, had supper. So it's probably like, I don't know, 6:30, 7-ish. I think what was happening was, the way these operate is a lot of them have these little vacuum fuel pumps right here, which I know it's really hard to see. It's dark. Let's do this. This right here is the little vacuum fuel pump. So it works off the vacuum of the carburetor and everything like that to pull fuel. And since the fuel tank is all the way back there, it's having to work a little bit. And us having that cover off and that air filter spot just completely open, it wasn't able to really pull any vacuum to pull the fuel in. So what we may have to do is just pressure up the fuel tank, but just a little bit of pressure to force fuel into everything, because the fuel pump is pumping. That's not the issue. It's pumping. It's just not getting to the engine. So I'm gonna hook up the jump box to it, and that way we can get this thing spinning over again. Turn our choke on. It is gonna get loud, so if I don't talk, that's why, because there's no point in talking if y'all can't hear me. There's my football coming through. Alright, so let's see. Choke's on, full throttle. I'm gonna grab the air line, pressure up the fuel tank, and see if we can't kind of force some fuel in. Okay, there's a vent. Actually, that vent may be stopped up. That may be what our whole issue is. It's not pushing enough fuel. Okay. Off so it's not just running. So this one I know for a fact needs 4 tires, so I may rob some tires off of that parts mower that's over there, because the front tires at least hold air. These have been sitting so long they no longer hold air, and they're flat, like flat. So pull this off, take a peek down here. Turn this back on and see if we're moving fuel. Yeah, we're not moving fuel really. So I think what's happening, let me grab y'all. Okay, so what I was saying is there's a little diaphragm, I'm pretty sure, in there, because when I put air pressure to it, I can get fuel out. So for some reason, it's obviously either gunked up or something like that, and it's not letting the fuel come through because, let me take this fuel line off and I'll show y'all. So the fuel comes out. I'll turn the thing back on, and the fuel sprays out, and it's supposed to, if I can do this with one hand, those little jets right there, or those little ports, fuel is supposed to be spraying out of those, but it is not. So I'm going to pop these little screws off, pop that little cover off, see if maybe there's some dirt, some trash, something like that. Maybe the carburetor's not adjusted right, anything like that. And then I'll, well, if I don't drop the light so y'all can't see anything, and I'll get back with y'all. Okay, so I got this little cover off. I put some air to it, and these little jets right here, there's one on that side too. As soon as I put air to it, they started pumping fuel up, but look at all that junk that's done in there. So I'm thinking that just those ports are completely stopped up, and I see some jets down there. Let's see if I see some jets down in those smaller holes right in front of that fuel line. I may be able to clean those out, but it's really hard to show y'all what I'm doing, which is another reason I want to get the shop cleaned out. But there's that. Yeah, so we're just gonna work on it out here until, and that way we can get this one out of the way, and you know, then build the lean-to, and that way we can, you know, work on stuff under the lean-to. I can actually have light, which I have right there. Just gotta find a place to better hang it. So yeah, let me see if I can't clean some of this up, stuff like that, and then I'll get back with y'all. All right, so I've set up the light now, so it's a little bit easier for y'all to at least see the mower. There was a little gasket right there, but what it looks like is more, it fills up the bowl and then pushes up with pressure and then fuels into those little ports that I was showing y'all. I dumped some gas down into that little little port, or those little ports right there, just to see if it helped prime it up some. So put the gas cap back on, and let's see what she do. Oop, let me turn this back on. Okay, let me try and pressure up the fuel tank, see if I can't force some fuel, because I guess it's not pulling enough, but it's pumping fuel, so it may just not be pumping enough. You know what? How about we just throw a new fuel filter on it? Call that good. That way we can see, because that one's very cloudy. Let's go over here to the stash. I'm in no way sponsored by Amazon. It'd be really cool if I was for this thing. There's a 10-pack of these little, you know, inline fuel filters with a magnet on there, and it was like $8 for a 10-pack of them. And you know, if you use these fuel filters a lot, that's great. And it's got this little magnet, so if there isn't like any metal or anything, it'll catch it. I'll put a link in the description for these. Again, I'm not sponsored by Amazon. I don't get any kind of kickback, but if you work on stuff a lot, these are really good to have. So let's turn this off, because you know, sparks and gasoline don't really mix well. Come on, you. There we go. There we go. Why do I have the feeling that fuel filter was the whole issue? Because as soon as I swapped fuel filters, I was able to see this one prime up. Yeah, there is some trash in it. I don't know if y'all can see that little speck right about there. Yeah, it's just an old fuel filter. All right, now that we got that on, and we can see that there is fuel now in the fuel filter, because before I couldn't, I was just kind of going off hopes and dreams. Let's see if we can't get her started now. Ah. Little thing came off the key. That's sad. Okay, I'm gonna get this hood pulled off and see if I can't drain that bowl. All right, so I decided that I would take the carburetor and everything off because I couldn't get this little fuel shutoff off. So I took the bowl off just to see, you know, what it looked like. Let's see if I can. That was in the bottom of the bowl, and as you can see, there's just a bunch of trash and stuff down there. So it has me to believe that somewhere a jet or something is stopped up. So we have the old Generac case right there that I have brought over here, and I'm going to use it as like a little exterior work table. So let me get a rag or something to lay down, and I'm going to get that float bowl off and kind of, pardon the mess, get that float bowl off, and then I'm going to kind of clean out those jets. Not the float bowl, the floats. Kind of clean out the jets. I'm just going to use this to kind of store all my parts. Maybe I can get y'all set up somewhere. Alright, so I don't have y'all set up in the best place, but at least you can kind of just see the float bowl and everything. Alright. There is the little detent that holds all that on. Set this over here. Y'all have already seen the detent and everything in another video. If you haven't, I'll show it once I get everything kind of apart. But same thing. It's just a little bit different. All right. Clean that jet out. It had some junk in it. Oh. That, hey buddy, that is my son, who is always interested in what I'm doing. And I told him when he gets old enough, he will be in one of the videos and he will be helping. And it'll teach him some life lessons about patience and everything like that, because if you've ever worked on anything, you know it takes a lot of patience, which I don't have a whole lot of. So it's odd that I chose a profession that requires so much. And there's just, it's like oil in there. So yeah, just a lot of sludge and stuff in there. I'm gonna get all this cleaned out and then kind of show you all the finished product, and then show you all the different float bowl that's on this one. It's very similar the one that was on the little Predator motor. If you haven't watched that video, I would highly recommend to do so. It's the first Will It Run of the channel where it actually ran. This is the second. I mean, we heard it run. So it's no longer a Will It Run, it's a Will It Run and idle. Again, I guess. So yeah, let me get all this cleaned up best I can, and then I'll bring y'all back. So, if you remember the Predator video, how the float bowl had a little detent with a spring. This one does not have a spring. It slides in here, and once the float bowl is full and it picks up, it goes in that little hole, which is the exact same process. That does not change. It's just sometimes you'll have a spring, sometimes you don't. I got really scared at first because I was like, oh no, it doesn't have a spring. Then I did a little bit of research and found out it doesn't have a spring. It just kind of rests in there. Float bowl looks a lot better. I got all the jets and everything cleaned out on the carburetor. Blew them out with some brake clean and some air. So I'm going to slap this thing back together, slap it back on, and see if it'll fire up. All right, guys. So if you remember, the Husqvarna yard tractor was turning over really slow. Starter, has all of this, metal shavings built up, and it sounded really bad, and I couldn't figure out why. I didn't want to buy a $50 starter, and I have this one laying around, and I was like, maybe I can just swap the cases. Let me take it apart and figure out what happened. That's a magnet that broke, and it bound everything up. If I can get y'all to, you can kind of see where they used to be, and how that is completely broken. So I'm going to take the case from this one because this one's really good, but the Bendix I think is too big. It actually may be the same size now that I'm looking at it. No, that Bendix is a little bit bigger. So this is called the Bendix. It's the metal part, and well, this one's plastic, but it's normally metal. I would have liked to use this one, but this is all that's going to fit. But this will save me about 50 bucks because this one I had just laying around that I think came from my grandpa. So I'm going to get these parts swapped over, and then we'll go stick it on the lawnmower and see if it turns over any better. So, yeah. All right, guys. So, if you'll notice, run to the lean-to. So the last time that I had this thing on camera was a couple weeks ago. Excuse me. The lean-to wasn't built yet, but I scrounged some money together from selling a couple projects around here and got the lean-to built. So now we have a nice place to work. If it's raining, we can come out here and work. And I've got, excuse me, ooh, I got the hiccups real bad. I've got a light out here. I'm going to get a couple and mount them inside here. Just little small screws. I'll probably have one on the end where I'm at, because this will be where we're working more, and one on the other end. So, but yeah, that's enough of that. This is going to be a two-part video. I'm sure this part's already long enough because it's only been sitting for 10 years, 11 years now. The date on the battery was actually February of 2014, and it is now February of 2025. So, yeah, I bought a new starter. If you remember, I rebuilt that starter. Yeah, the plastic Bendix died and all fun stuff. So, I'm going to get this new starter thrown on, and then we'll see if she cranks any better and see if I can get it to run and drive at least. And then I got to get 4 new tires and make sure the deck works and all the fun stuff. But right now, I want it running and driving to make sure it's actually worth putting time in. So, let me grab some tools, throw the starter on, and I'll be right back. So yeah, this is the old starter. If you notice how all the teeth are like round except for like 5, It's not supposed to be like that. But I got a new starter. It was not $50. I'm pleasantly surprised. It was only $32, like $34 after taxes. The one I bought has a metal Bendix on it. It's aluminum, but it's better than plastic. So I'm gonna start spinning this thing over, see if we can get it to fire up, and see if we can get it to move. I would really like to do that tonight, and that way I can post another video. But who knows? The motor will do what it wants to do. Okay. So, got the starter on. We have the jump box hooked up. Put it on start. Alright, let's see what it does. Oh, that's right, I have to take a spark plug out because this thing, for some reason, only wants to run with one cylinder open. I think it's got way too much carbon built up from it just sitting. Yeah, it's a lot of carbon. Alright, let's try this. Oh, got some oomph behind that starter. I like that. Alright, choke is on. Let's go get the starting fluid, see what it'll do. Alright, a little snort. Well, it ran. Turn this off. It ran really good, actually. That's exciting. I don't know if y'all could see that very well. It was very hard to try and get that on camera, but I'm sure you saw the whole hood lurch forward. That was it trying to drive on 4 flat tires, and it moved a little bit. So this thing runs and drives. This thing has been sitting since February of 2014, and I just got it running and driving. Cool. Next step is going to be getting it, where it will cut grass and the deck will engage and getting new tires put on it. That's going to be part 2. So y'all make sure that y'all, like, subscribe, share, comment. I really appreciate it. I noticed on the shed, the lean-to update, that I had over 200 views on it, which is like super exciting. And I've gained a few subscribers in the past couple days since I posted that video. I just want to say thank y'all so much. That really means a lot. It makes me feel like I'm, entertaining and teaching people all at the same time. But y'all make sure that y'all like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. That way you'll never miss a video. And thank you for watching 10 Shed Shenanigans.